श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु। गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ जातवेदसे सुनवामसो ममराति यतो निदहाति वेदः स नः पर्षदति दुर्गाणि विश्वानावेव सिन्धुन्दुरितात्यग्निः मग्निवर्णां तपसा ज्वलन्तीं वैरोचनीं कर्मफलेषु जुष्टां दुर्गां देवीगुं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। सुतरसितरसे नमः। अग्ने त्वं पारयानव्यो अस्मान् स्वस्तिभिरति दुर्गाणि विश्वा पूश्च पृथ्वी बहुला न उर्वी भवातोकायतनयाय शंयोः विश्वामिनो दुर्गः जातवेदः सिन्धुन्ननावा दुरितातिपर्षि अग्ने अत्रिवन्मनसा गृणानोऽस्माकं बोध्यवितातनूनां पृतनाजितगुं सहमानमुग्रमग्निगुं हुवेम परमात् सधस्थात् स नः पर्षदति दुर्गाणि विश्वा क्षामद्देवो अतिदुरितात्यग्निः प्रत्नोषि कमीड्यो अध्वरेषु सनाच्च होता नव्यश्च सत्सि स्वाञ्चाग्ने तनुवं पिप्रयस्वास्मभ्यं च सौभगमायजस्व गोभिर्जुष्टमयुजो निषिक्तन्तवेन्द्रविष्णोरनुसञ्चरेम नाकस्य पृष्ठमभिसंवसानो वैष्णवीं लोक इह मादयन्ताम्। ॐ कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते। विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वर। अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम। तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर। हरिः ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
ओम शांति
शांति शांति।
जय गणनायका, जय जय विघ्न विनाशका। जय 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 गणनायका, जय जय विघ्न विनाशका। जय शुभ मंगलदायका, विद्या बुद्धि प्रदायका।
स्वरूपिणी मां, साई प्रेम स्वरूपिणी सत्यस्वरूपिणी मां साई प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय निवासिनि पतिनिवासिनि मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि मां
विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि
विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि मां
विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि मां
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि मां
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि
सत्यस्वरूपिणी मां साई प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
स्वरूपिणी साई प्रेम स्वरूपिणी
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि
विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि मां
विघ्नविनाशिनि भवभयहारिणि कालिकपालिनि
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि मां
हे त्रिभुवनपालिनि मङ्गलकारिणि मोक्षप्रदायिनि
परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां परमानन्ददायिनि हृदय विहारिणि पतिनिवासिनि मां सत्यस्वरूपिणी मां साई प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
मन्दस्मितमुख राधा मनोहर गोविन्द गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर गोविन्द गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर श्यामल माधव मुरहर श्यामल माधव मुरहर गगननील घनाति सुन्दर श्यामल माधव मुरहर गगननील घनाति सुन्दर मन्दस्मितमुख राधा मनोहर गोविन्द गोपाल नटवर गिरिधर श्यामल माधव मुरहर श्यामल माधव मुरहर दया करो माँ जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ दया करो माँ शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ कृपा करो माँ साईश्वरी रक्षा करो माँ सत्य साईश्वरी रक्षा करो माँ रक्षा करो माँ भरतीश्वरी भला करो माँ उत्पत्तीश्वरी भला करो माँ भला करो माँ शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ कृपा करो माँ जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ दया करो माँ शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ कृपा करो माँ साईश्वरी रक्षा करो माँ रक्षा करो माँ भरतीश्वरी भला करो माँ भला करो माँ शिव शंकर शंकरी कृपा करो माँ, कृपा करो माँ, शिव शंकरी कृपा करो माँ, कृपा करो माँ, जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ।
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call your name.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna,
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call your name.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, call your name.
Why don't you come to me? Why don't you answer me? Why don't
you come to me? Why don't you answer me?
Why don't you come to me? Why don't you answer me?
Why don't you come to me? Why don't you answer me?
Why don't you rescue me and release my pain?
Why don't you rescue me and ease my pain?
Why don't you rescue me and release my pain?
Why don't you rescue me and ease my pain?
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call you again.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call you again.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call you again.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call you again.
Krishna, 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 why did I forget that you're in my heart?
Krishna, 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 why did I forget that you're in my heart?
Far away in Mathura, far away in Dwarka,
Far away in Mathura, far away in Dwarka,
but here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call your name.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call your name.
Why don't you come to me? Why don't you answer me?
Why don't you come to me? Why don't you answer me?
Why don't you rescue me and release my pain?
Why don't you rescue me and ease my pain?
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call you again.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hare Krishna, I call your name.
Krishna, 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 touch here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Far away in Mathura, far away in Dwarka, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Jai Jai Krishna, Jai Madhava, here in my heart, Hridaya Krishna.
Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Shri Hari Krishna, I call your name.
Atma Rama Ananda Ramana.
Atma Rama Ananda Ramana.
Atma Rama Ananda Ramana.
Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana.
Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana.
Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana. Baba Baya Harana Vandita Charana. Baba Baya Harana Vandita Charana. Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana. Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana. Adi Narayana Ananda Shayana. Adi Narayana Ananda Shayana. Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana. Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana. Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana. Baba Baya Harana Vandita Charana. Raghukula Bhushana Rajiva Lochana. Adi Narayana Ananda Shayana. Sachidananda Shri Satyanarayana. Sachidananda Shri Sai Narayana. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana. Durge, 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 Jai Jai Ma.
शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा गंग जटाधर गौरी मनोहर शंभो शंकरा शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा व्याघ्रांबर धर चंद्रकलाधर शंभो शंकरा शिव शंभो शंकरा शिव शंभो शंकरा शिव शंभो शंकरा व्याघ्रांबर धर चंद्रकलाधर शंभो शंकरा हालाहलधर शैलगिरीश्वर शंभो शंकरा गंग जटाधर गौरी मनोहर शंभो शंकरा गंग जटाधर गौरी मनोहर शंभो शंकरा शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा भजरंगा हरे विठ्ठला भजरंगा हरे विठ्ठला पांडुरंगा हरे विठ्ठला पांडुरंगा हरी विठ्ठला साई रंगा हरी पांडुरंगा हरी साई रंगा हरी पांडुरंगा हरी भज रखुमाई रंग विठ्ठला भज रखुमाई रंग विठ्ठला पांडुरंगा हरी विठ्ठला साई रंगा हरी विठ्ठला भज रंगा हरी विठ्ठला पांडुरंगा हरी विठ्ठला साई रंगा हरी पांडुरंगा हरी भज रखुमाई रंग विठ्ठला पांडुरंगा हरी विठ्ठला साई रंगा हरी विठ्ठला Lord. Why fear when I am here? Why fear when I am here? Why fear when I am here? इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। हम चले नेक रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। दूर अज्ञान के हो अंधेरे, तो हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे। दूर अज्ञान के हो अंधेरे, तो हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे। हर बुराई से बचते रहे हम, जितनी भी दे भली जिंदगी दे। बैर होना किसी का किसी से, भावना मन में बदले की होना। नेक रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। हम चलो जी हमें क्या मिला है, हम ये सोचे किया क्या है। हम न सोचे हमें क्या मिला है, हम ये सोचे किया क्या है अर्पण। फूल खुशियों की बातें सभी को, सबका जीवन ही बन जाए मधुबन। अपनी करुणा का जल तू बहा के, कर दे पावन हर एक मन का होना। हम चले नेक रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। हम चले नेक रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना।
Jai Saram, everybody. With our hearts brimming with absolute love and gratitude, we offer our humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Bhagavan, Sri Satya Sai Baba, our Shakti within. Respected elders, uncles, brothers, but most importantly today, my fellow Shakti Swarupas, Jai Saram, and welcome to today's Mill Hill Lady celebrations, and to our panel discussion aptly titled Shakti in Action. I had the pleasure of speaking to these lovely ladies earlier this week and was absolutely inspired by how much they have gone through, how much they've been through. And Swami has said that there is such an importance on females in society. In Sri Satya Sai Speaks, he says that from ancient times, the feminine aspect of the divine has been worshipped in various ways. The Veda declares that where women are honored and esteemed, their divinity is present with all its potency. And so I have the honor today of honoring these three incredible women. And I asked them about their bios earlier this week, obviously to introduce them. And in true female fashion, they gave me very little to go with. And so I did my own research and digging and stalking their websites on LinkedIn. And I'm going to tell you just how much they've achieved. Well, just a snippet, to be honest, because we would be here for a long time if I went through everything that they have done. So firstly, we have Sister Satya. Swami has been guiding force in her life for over 3 decades. A Sai student from Anantapur campus, she belongs to a family that has lived in his fold for generations. By his grace, she is the niece of Sri Ramani and the cousin of Sri Sai Shravanam. Professionally, Sister works as a test analyst with Avanti West Coast, but at heart remains a student of Swami forever. She left out that she's involved in so many centres: Aylesbury, Mill Hill, Hatfield, Milton Keynes. She teaches children, she chants, she sings, as you've heard today, and she continues to dedicate an abundance of time to this organisation. Secondly, we have Sister Deepa. She's the founder of Burnt Oak Community Food Bank, who I'm sure you all know, and it set up a grassroots initiative established in 2021 during the height of the COVID pandemic. Initially, what was meant to be a pilot run for 8 weeks. And it was an essential response to the community because high levels of deprivation had grown and there was a vital need for service. And this ended up supporting over 180,000 people. She has an unwavering commitment to this. She was nominated as the GB News' Great Britain's Person and went on the Neil Oliver Show and was invited to talk about her story. For 4 years, actually, Sister Deepa has taught SSE and served as the coordinator at Harrow East, drawing inspiration from her experiences with Uncle Vagama during the Narayan Seva and Lakshachan. She's dedicated volunteer at the Holborn Food Service for 15 years, supporting hundreds of homeless clients every week. This service holds deep spiritual significance, but it was founded 30 years ago on the direct instructions of Swami himself in Prashanti Nilayam. And finally, last but not least, we have Sister Smriti. So she sent some stuff about attending Mill Hill for years since she was 4 and 5, but then I just went on her website anyway and found out that she has an OBE and then she's a CEO of this incredible company, which is focused on the business of partnerships in fashion and design space, as well as working with children education. With her team, she has supported by her team to win the business accolades from the Prince of Wales Award for the most ethical supply chain, the UK Trade and Investments Business is Great campaign. She uses her voice, most importantly, to educate, empower, and inspire other businesses and individuals and women to adopt such sustainable practices. She was named in the BBC's 100 Women and featured in Management Today and the Sunday Times' 35 Women Under 35 list. But of course, Balvikas, the Seva activities, and the bhajans which she has contributed to and been involved with all her life has given her the foundations and the continued strength throughout her schooling to know that the best investment in oneself is the spiritual discipline that Swami promotes. So, on that, these three incredible women are here with me today, so thank you very much. And now I'm going to stop talking and let you take the reins. So I'm going to dive into the first question. You all have such rich experiences, professionally, personally, and in your education. Can you tell us of a time that you have experienced this Shakti in action? And I'll start with Sister Rowan. Thank you.
Sairam, everyone, and thank you for that lovely introduction. And first of all, Shakti in action. And in our everyday lives, I think it's our own mother who takes care of us. Each and every need, whether it is cooking, whether it is feeding all the family members, whether it's being of support to her husband, or to even, support as a child, to raise a child. I think our mothers have done a great job. Shakti in action, immediately my mother comes to my mind. And in our everyday lives, personally, I think when we go to Prashanti Nilayam, we see all the ladies, the security ladies, right? They are Shakti in action. They have the duty, actually, to safeguard that place with their utmost duty. They do everything for Swami. They guard that place, and that is Shakti in action for me. Prasadam distribution, managing the crowd control there in Prashanti. It's not an easy job. They'll fall on you during Narayan Seva. I've personally experienced that. When we did Narayan Seva for Swami's, one of Swami's birthdays, the crowd would just come and fall on us. But we never stopped. Swami would lovingly serve everybody present there as Narayanas, and he would show us how to serve each and every Narayana. That personally is Shakti in action for me. And I think everyday lives, we see Shakti in action, but it's just that you need to be aware that that Shakti is still there in all of us, and we need to make good use of that Shakti and compassion and love in our everyday lives. Sairam.
Thank you. Sister Deepa, would you like to answer next?
I think for me, Shakti, first and foremost, just brings me straight to Swami, because without him, I'm not able to do any of the works that I do. And I think most profoundly, I think I've experienced Shakti in action when our food bank actually faced the risk of closure unexpectedly this year. At the same time, demand had surged, and we had less than a month to relocate or shut the doors. And we were very, very short of supplies and funds. Yet what unfolded was pure collective strength. Women and men from diverse backgrounds came forward offering their time, resources, and ideas. Their creative compassion and out-of-the-box thinking ensured that we continued to serve our communities so that no one went hungry in that moment. And for me, I think I truly saw Shakti as living energy in this day and age, right before our eyes. And the power of love, emotion, expressed that through service, collaboration, and most importantly, unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just one small thing I wanted to add for Shakti in Action is our lovely ladies present in the center doing amazing work, Sister Kubashini, Sister Gauri, and Sister Chandima. And I think all of you all are doing really great job, and that is Shakti in Action for me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is a hard question. But I think if we listen to Swami's teachings, we should all believe that we're all God. Whether it's the female embodiment as Shakti or the male embodiment as God. And I think once one focuses one's mind, which is very hard to do, but if you focus your mind on any particular goal that you want to have, you can fulfill it. I'd like to say thank you to my sister Benita, who, a few years ago when I became a mother, I hadn't come to the center for a couple of years, and she showed me the route back. And I cannot be more grateful for that, because the beautiful energy in this center. It's quite special. If you go to different activities, spiritual or others, this center has a very special energy and power, driven by service, driven by humility, driven by all of the seva activities, the excellence in music. So I think Shakti in action is within us, but also in how we foster communities. And I think that's very important to ensure that we keep the bond within the communities to do good work, because the world can seem quite dark at times. So the energy that we have with the younger girls to foster, I think, is very important. So that didn't answer your question, but I feel that this center is a very special place, and we really need to protect it.
Thank you. Yeah, Sarah. So it's true. I think we all have a different idea of Shakti in action. I know that when we were discussing this earlier this week, we each came up with different ideas. In fact, different to what you've even told me today. So this is great. But it's nice to know that no matter who you ask, that Shakti looks different to everybody. And I suppose that's the beauty of it, right? That there is no one thing that what does it mean to be Shakti. It's everything that you are being, and then more, and it's individual to everybody. And I think it's nice. It's exactly what you said that the centre has, and that we should foster. One part of that fostering, I think, being able to develop that Shakti is that self-confidence, and it's different to a confidence. I know that Swami talks about this a lot, and that self-confidence is the way to attain bliss, to attain that self-realization. So my second question is that how do we help ourselves develop this self-confidence, or how do we help others develop this self-confidence? And could you tell me a time where you've experienced such things? Start with Satya. Thank you.
How did I develop self-confidence in me? I think I lack confidence even now. I'm so sorry. But yes, for others, yes, I have loads of examples. For example, the bhajan team, wherever I go, some people are really not confident enough. They sing really well, but somehow they hesitate to come forward, and they hesitate to sing in front of a large audience. So that when I coach or when I train girls of young age, so they I tell them, I encourage them, saying that you can do it, you're singing well. And that little words, I don't know what magic it does to them. They start singing confidently, and they project themselves well. And the next time they sing, in Akhanda bhajans or something like that, they really project their voice, and they sing really well. They get appreciated. So that one example, which I'm seeing every day, day to day, boosting the self-confidence. The second one I would like to share is, during my college days, there was this girl who was not confident, or she wouldn't be confident enough to write her answers, to a particular subject. And then we would buddy up. I would make her sit down, read a few times, write a few times. And then that made her realize that where she was doing the mistake, and then she started doing really well in her studies. And during her final exams, we never expected she would get such a good grade. She got an O grade. And teachers were just really amazed by how she had performed during her exams. So those small things which we can do to help others really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, is that if we have that ability ourselves to help others, that sort of develops everyone else's self-confidence as well as our own.
Encouragement is one thing, and doing that, you are learning yourselves. Like you may lack the same thing, but it may not appear that outside so obviously. But then when you're telling others, you're learning that yourself. So yeah. I think that also helps.
Thank you so much. Sister Deepa.
Okay. I think throughout my years, I've gone through peaks and troughs when it comes to self-confidence. But for me, meditation, being grounded, really kind of gives me that inner strength. And I think that's where Swami, I feel, talks to me and gives me that Shakti, gives me that kind of clarity. So, and it comes, hand in hand, in particular, with the work at the food bank. I often meet women facing overwhelming circumstances, financial pressure, disabilities, personal loss, bereavement, human trafficking, addiction, prostitution, and a lot of domestic abuse. And they kind of really do lack self-confidence to bring about change in their lives, or to be able to do something passionate because they're in such a deep hole. When they come to us, we really make a point of getting to know them and listening deeply to acknowledge what their strengths are and to encourage small steps to participate in Seva through the food bank. And being trusted to manage their workstations or to take on a different responsibility, we find that they begin to gain confidence, independence, and self-belief. And I think those are the very important tools that helps then takes you to those other tiers. They then begin to see the tangible results of their own actions and the positive impact they can create in a community, thus giving back or giving them the momentum to keep going and not to give up. Watching someone stand tall after realizing their own power, that moment when self-confidence blossoms, is deeply inspiring and a living example of Swami's teachings.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are all in this together. I suppose females supporting females, that's what's going to strengthen us all together. It's not like an individual, well, it is an individual journey, but at the same time, together we can rise above it all. Thank you so much.
I think self-confidence starts with Bal Vikas for me. And it is wonderful to see Hamsa Aunty here in the audience after so long, because it's the foundations that I feel have really kept me strong through life. You don't need to then get distracted by the world's, noise. So the love and care that the Bal Vikas gurus have for the children, I think, is immeasurable in terms of the confidence that you can build, knowing who you are, the strength that you have, the discipline. Whether you sing, you have to come early in the morning, your child doesn't want to come here and they have to come here, and pardon? It's all a challenge, but also an opportunity. So I think the weekly discipline, and I can see all of these uncles and aunties who have been so formative in my personal life, Bharat uncle, Hamsa auntie, Kirti uncle, you've all just been here as resolute, sort of stable people in our weekly lives, that I think that daily, weekly, monthly, yearly discipline just then carries you out through your years. So it's quite simple, and many of you know that I lost my beloved grandmother very recently, who was, a real stalwart, and her, life lessons were based around daily discipline. Early morning wake-ups, doing namasmaran, all sorts of bhajans, even though she was completely tone deaf at the end. She would just sing super loudly, out of tune, but she would do it. Yoga. So that daily routine, I think, is quite important to instill foundations and self-confidence, because then you can just go through life in the toughest of moments.
There are so many teachings of Swami that helps us to develop this self-confidence and develops all these other virtues that I know he's particularly said that women have. And if you read his literature, there's often some things that are, well, for me anyway, I read the Dharmavahini and I said, okay, how do I be a woman? What does that mean? And there are so many things that sort of feel a bit difficult to take on at first when you first read it initially. And then the more you read it, the more you realize that he's saying that there are so many things that we can do and that we should, well, whether we should do or shouldn't do is more of an interpretation. But I think it's everything that we can do. And I think that was the highlight of it for me, that if you take that discipline, if you take those routines that you've talked about, then you really can do anything. And I think that was so reassuring to hear from Swami himself. So yeah, in the Dhammavahini, Swami says that you don't need to give up household responsibilities. You don't need to stop your business. You don't need to stop any of these things, because do it all. However, I know that everyone here has experienced that pull in so many different directions of life. And so with all the things that you all do, how do we balance those external roles in the work, in the family, in society, while still remembering our spiritual journeys?
Looking back at the question, I'm like thinking that we need to practice a lot and listen a lot before we even sort of become an example. So for me, a simple thing like you cannot always oblige. You can always speak obligingly. You can be polite and you can still refuse some things. But that matters a lot when we practice that. If we don't practice, nobody's going to bother listening to you, or nobody's going to respect you for that matter. So small things like that. When we practice that in our daily lives, Swami's messages, Swami's teachings, how well are we following Swami's teachings? Coming to the center, yes. Discipline, yes. But please, let's introspect within ourselves. Are we definitely following Swami's teachings? Are we behaving in a way that Swami would want us to behave? Are we correcting ourselves in that particular way that Swami wants us to conduct ourselves? Then we become the true instrument, or then we become sort of, we can surrender ourselves to Swami, right? When we practice certain things and when we listen to people a bit more, I know we expect a lot from people, but then Swami says, less luggage, more comfort, like that, less expectations, you'll be more happy in life. So that's how I think that answers your question. Thank you.
Yeah, so how do we balance all these external roles that we have, life, society, family, Sai Center?
So, I mean, for me, it's probably going to be very short. I think it's following, Swami's principles. It's connecting to yourself first and foremost through meditation, through grounding. It's not being in a lotus position. There's so many different techniques, because when I speak to people and they say to me, well, how do you manage everything you do? And I said, well, I meditate. And I said, well, how many hours do you meditate for? And I said, well, no, I will actually take myself off. I will go for a walk, but I will be present within myself, and that gives me that inner core, that strength, and that ability to kind of, home in on the strength that we all, have within ourselves. So yeah, I mean, for me, I kind of just go back to being very grounded and kind of checking in with myself continuously through the days as well. Seeing what's happening, see how I'm feeling, and kind of, I'm feeling off track, I kind of go back to Swami, if it's reciting a bhajan or reciting something, of his, or listening to his videos, for example, on the WhatsApp groups, there's always the messages, and it takes him back and it brings me back collectively to where I am, and how afraid I am to have to tackle everything in front of me, but it just brings me back to normality, and then bit by bit I kind of, manage to get on with things.
As women do.
Yes.
I actually really like what you said about the self-introspection. I was talking to some women, and somebody has the self-realization, the self-confidence, the self-satisfaction, self-realization. Yeah, I almost want to add self-care. I think that we need to actually think about what is good for us sometimes, and when you're thinking about yourself, can you do those things otherwise?
So self-care is really, really important, and I don't know how many ladies here, we put our hands up in the air, how many of us deal with self-care? Do we know what self-care is? You're an exception. How many of us ladies actually know what self-care is? How many of us have practiced it in this lifetime? Now this is really worrying. We should be doing it 3-4 times a day. Do you know that? And we have actually, we have a very important sister here. She's very, very good. And I'm not going to put her on the spot, but I think we reflected earlier on about Mill Hill Science Centre. For myself, Mill Hill Science Centre was the first centre I started attending, I think, at the age of 11. And then I had to travel backwards and forwards. And I did visit other science centres. But there is something very, very special here. It always pulls you back. But going back to self-care, I plead and I put my hands together and I say to each and every one of you ladies, please, self-care is so important. We can't love ourselves. If we can't take care of ourselves, how are we going to do anything for anyone else? How can we fulfill any of Swami's human values? How? We have to love ourselves. You know, and what does love mean? How do we love ourselves? Anyone know? Anyone able to say? No. And this is something that we should all collectively work together. I'm not going to point names, but there are certain sisters here who really do amazing work. And you know what? There's no harm in checking in with ourselves and doing this on a regular basis. I have to do it because that keeps me going, keeps me in line, and it gives me the ability to then pass on, you know, love, or pass on that ability, the stability to the other people that I am serving, be it Holborn, you know, be it at Mother Teresa's as well. You see a lot of things. And so for me, I also learn from them, and I see, I mean, how many of you have been to Mother Teresa's? Have you had the experience of being there? And you will see how strict their routine, but their upbringing is. You know, winter times, they are not allowed to go and shop for thermals. You know, I will secretly go out and go and buy them, and I will, you know, usher it in. But, you know, it's so strict. Even washing, they don't have a washing machine. It's all by hand, you know. In this day and age, you know, how our great-grandmothers and our grandmothers, you know, washed in the cold, those types of things. And it's so, I have diverse, and I'm sorry, but I do really think that, you know, maybe it's something to think about. Yeah. Self-care, definitely for us women, because we are the embodiment of Shiv and Shakti. And if we're continuously giving and giving and giving, we're depleting ourselves. So, Jai Saram.
Sister Smithy.
I don't think I'm balanced in any
please,
aspect of
yes,
my
you
life.
are.
So I think one has to be realistic, but also, you know, I'm not balanced currently, am I? I've got a, you know, but I just want to say, you know, the children are getting a bit fidgety. So I think to keep it short, we are all God, and Swami tells us we're all God. And Swami has done some incredible projects, building hospitals and schools and water projects, you know, in next to no time. And I think seeing all of this seva in action should tell us, look, time is very short. We have no time. So you have to look after yourself physically. You have to, you know, exercise. You have to meditate. You have to eat good whole foods. But it's very challenging to do everything all the time at a very high level. But when you think about what Swami achieved in his life, Swami was born as a human, but had the self-realization that he is God, which we all are. We're all God. So if Swami is able to inspire us and to create such incredible projects and such an incredible legacy, then why can't we do it? You know, we should be able to do it. So that's all I have to say, because the children are really getting a bit tired.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more questions. We'll bring the next one a bit close to home. If you could tell all of us of a experience that you've had where you've seen women bring about a positive change in your life, their lives, and it could be yourselves as well. Sister Satya.
I would always say that it's my mother who brought the changes in me, because those days we didn't have tablets, we didn't have anything. It was just, some self-discipline that was passed on uh, for generations. And she's the one who has instilled us small things like how to have faith, how to worship God, how to be loving towards others, how to help others when they need, and how to take care of people when they're not well, how to take care of the elderly. These small things, I think, our mothers are great inspirations, and they are the ones teaching everything for us. So yeah, that's it.
So for me, I think I'm going to echo the same. For me, I think it was my late Marcy and also my mum. I think at the age of 11, it was a Sunday, and we went to Waterloo and we fed the homeless. And from then, that kind of, instilled something. It kind of just touched my soul, and I didn't realise to what degree it would do that. But definitely my mum. And, growing up, it wasn't easy. My parents divorced when I was very, very young, and it was very difficult in the, I'd say, early 80s. But my mum was so strong. She brought me up, and oversaw the challenges, and but always, kept me on the straight and narrow, and always, pushed me towards the Sai organisation. I didn't go to SSC, but I'd listened to Swami's bhajans, and in our family, there were many who have had interviews and whatnot, and that really drew me. But ultimately, for me, it's my mother, who, without her, I don't think I would be here today. So her and also Swami, so thank you.
I mean, obviously my mother, obviously my grandmother, obviously lots of the women in this room. It's just obvious that women do extraordinary things all the time. And your question about professional and work and home, I think the greatest job in the world is being a mother, and it's the hardest job in the world. So, when you see all of these flashy, these women are achieving so much in their professional lives, actually the greatest achievement is being a wonderful, loving person, whether you're a mother or not. I think comparing yourselves is quite problematic. It's always better to be inspired by women and don't compare. Don't you think?
Yeah, he'll agree. He's agreeing.
Yeah, just one thing to add to Sister. I always ask Swami this question. Swami always says, love all, serve all. But to someone who's pinpointing at you, who's rude to you, who's telling you, who's abusing you, how can you be that loving person? How can you show love to people who are not showing love to you, who are being critical about you, who are not? So that
really, it's like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
You don't need to. You just show them back love, and then they'll just be really loving
absolutely.
towards you.
That's what. But yes, again, coming back to self-care. So are we really doing self-care there?
Yeah, I don't know if many of you know about the Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono. That's really important, and it's fascinating. It's a very old traditional prayer. Go on to, it's for men and women as well. But so, for example, in a situation like that, it's just a few lines, and it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And when I'm in a situation like that, when I'm at my food bank or I'm going to meetings, and believe me, I've had my huge struggles being an Asian woman and going into a very English environment, and I'm pushing and I'm pleading, for my clients. I get challenged very, very much so, and I get looked upon, and so when I'm in that situation, I actually visualize that person who's been very nasty, very rude, and I put them in this white light, like the candle that we have, the actual shape of a candle, the light. I visualize them in there, and I surround them in that light, and I actually just recite that prayer. And I say to Swami, I send them back to you, because we are all on those journeys, okay? And none of us are normal. Not normal, but none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect, but that's how I deal with things like that. Very quickly, I will give one scenario. When I first started up the food bank, an email went across the whole of Barnet by a Iranian lady, and she said to me, and it went to the police, it went to the ambulance, it went to every sector, and she said, oh, we don't need you. You're on our turf, so get out. And I thought, how can this happen in Seva? How can we do this? How can we speak like this? And I was flabbergasted. I was really upset with Swami. and then I actually had to sit down, and this email went viral. But I had to practice what I've just said, and it was hard. It's not easy, because sometimes women can be very, very verbal, very aggressive, and when we don't have those intentions inside of us, it's very hard to receive that. So going back, that's how I deal with it. Ho'oponopono mantra is amazing. Saira.
Thank you. We have one final question, which will keep to an line, perhaps, just for the time. I put young women face loads of challenges, but I really should just say women all face loads of challenges. But I wanted to aim this question for the youth, or the budding youth, and those who are young at heart. How can we help young women see spirituality and modern life go hand in hand?
I think self-confidence is gorgeous, and is really beautiful for everyone to witness. So the moment you love yourself and I am God, then no one can touch you. All of the visual noise that there is, the audio noise of the world, comparison, it doesn't matter. We really are all on our own journey. We're born alone and we die alone. So it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Fulfill your own talents, exploit your talents, give them to society, and then you just radiate in your own glory, because you're God. And I think, exams and pressures of getting into university or not, or getting a job that you want, it really doesn't matter. The rat race of life is an artificial one. And I think if you can create your own path, that's the strongest piece of advice I can give to my younger self, my current self, and my future self.
So, young ladies or young people today look at the older generation, or the older women, for inspiration and role models, right? So in modern days, what do we have? We have phones. We have lots and lots of computers, right? So how are we putting that to use? Are we time boxing ourselves to those? Are we following discipline? Are we allocating time for family prayers? During food time, are we looking at the screens? Simple things like that. When we practice discipline for those things, I think that becomes an inspiration for the modern young children to actually see, oh yeah, they are practicing this, so we should follow. If we don't practice, we can't tell them. Same thing with love and listening to them a bit more. They might have a problem, they won't tell us. They're telling the AI these days, right? So how can we stop that? We need to be there to guide them, to actually listen to them and analyze their problems and give them solutions, not the AI, right? So that kind of is important for me.
I think for me, having been in SSC, I think first and foremost, to answer that question, I think spirituality isn't separate from modern life. I think that's very important for all of us to know that. There's no separation at all. centres like this are so important because this gives the foundation. It gives young, beautiful souls here who are studying, who are, with young ones, etc. It gives them that inner core strength to kind of see by example of how, people, live lives, what they go on to do. Nothing is impossible. But organisations like this are very, very important. And many people say to me, what is your religion? And I say, my religion is a religion of love. That's it. And they said, but, we don't have this. And I'm like, well, this is where you need to come. You need to come to, a Sai Centre because it embodies and envelopes absolutely every religion. And I think that is what's very, very important. Another thing I think is important is, when I was teaching, we had very young girls and going through GCSEs to A-levels to university. And there's a lot of changes that are happening. And, I had the blessing of a very young, amazing, talented brother who I requested to come and support us. And also different sisters. And what was important is that the girls were able to come and talk to us and see us as, I'm not saying I am the perfect role model at all, because I'm not, but they came and they got sound advice that it wasn't going to direct them and take them off track. And one thing that, I really, I kind of draw on, and I see now that they've gone on and achieved, amazing careers, is that they still hold those human values in their day-to-day life. And their friends ask them, well, how do you have that grace? How do you have that confidence? How are you able to achieve? And I'm not saying you have to be a doctor and accountant and all that, no. But how do you achieve to be so happy in life and content? And it's those values, I think, bring it together.
Beautiful ending. Thank you. I could sit here and listen to you guys speak for hours. I think their experiences. There is so much more. I feel like we've scratched the surface, but we are going to close just after Smriti. Would you like to answer that last question? About how it goes hand in hand. Oh yeah, you answered first. Sorry. We'll stop there. You got in quickly first, didn't you? No, we'll end there, but thank you so much. And I do think that if you have questions yourselves, please feel free to ask them. Afterwards, we're going to, I believe, hang around in the kitchen area, so feel free to ask them yourselves then. I'll end with the words of Swami, because there is nothing better than what he says about us. So women can control the whole world by themselves by virtue of their inherent qualities of love and spirit of sacrifice. However, they are not encouraged to show their ability. Even in the family, they have to face obstacles and confrontations. If women are given due recognition and encouragement, they will shine with brilliance in all fields and will serve the house, country, and the entire world gloriously, contributing to the welfare of the entire humanity. Thank you very much.
Can we say thank you so much, Thriv, for being such a professional and so kind and so collaborative on this.
Thank you.
ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా,
embodiments of love.
ప్రాచీన కాలం నుండి ఈ హృదయాన్ని పవిత్రముగా గావించుకుంటూ వచ్చారు పవిత్రమైనటువంటి యొక్క స్త్రీలు.
women from time immemorial have tried to keep up this purity of the heart.
గత జీవుడకు పతిని బ్రతికించి ఎముగల్చే సావిత్రి భారత సాధ్వికాదే.
Is not
చచ్చినటువంటి యొక్క భర్తను బ్రతికించినటువంటి స్త్రీలు ఉన్నారు, కానీ చచ్చినటువంటి భార్యను బ్రతికించినటువంటి పురుషుడు ఎక్కడా కనిపించడం లేదు. ఏ చరిత్రలో కూడా మనకు తెలియదు.
in the whole of history, there have been women who brought back like Savitri, dead husbands to life. But there is not a single example of a man who has brought back to life a dead wife.
ఈనాడు ఆధునిక యుగంగా మారటం చేత అనేక రకమైనటువంటి యొక్క చర్యలు ఆధునికంగానే చేరిపోతున్నాయి.
Because of the changes of this modern world, all newfangled thoughts,
సద్భావములకు, సచ్చర్యలకు, సచ్చింతనలకు చక్కని అవకాశమే కనిపించడం లేదు.
there is no place whatsoever for good thoughts, for good actions, for any type of good deeds.
కనుక ఈనాడు స్త్రీలకు ఈ పవిత్రమైనటువంటి యొక్క భావనలు అభివృద్ధి పరచుకొని దీనికి సత్యసాయి సంస్థలని, సత్యసాయి మహిళా విభాగములని దీనికి ఏర్పరిచి ఈ సత్సంగ ప్రభావాన్ని జగమునకు చాటే నిమిత్తమై దీనికి ఏర్పరుస్తూ వచ్చాం.
For the purpose of increasing the recognition of these values, and then it is the woman who should uphold it, and so there are various organizations of Sri Satya Sai like Mahila Vibhag and so many other type of things.
కనుకనే స్త్రీలు కూడినప్పుడే జగత్తంతా కూడాను ఒక పవిత్రమైనటువంటి దేశంగా రూపొందుతుంది.
It's only when the women get together that the whole nation becomes something exemplary.
ఈ స్త్రీల యొక్క సంఘము ఎంతనో గొప్ప విలువను సంపాదించింది.
So this society of women lends it a lot of dignity.
చాలా వరకు స్త్రీల యందు స్వార్థరహితమైనటువంటి హృదయం ఉంటుంటాయి.
Women have got a heart which is devoid of selfishness.
దయా ప్రేమల చేత వాడి హృదయం నిండి ఉంటుంది.
Their heart is full of compassion and kindness.
పిల్లలను పోషించేటువంటి విషయం లోపల ఎంతనో జాగ్రత్తగా ఉంటుంటారు.
In bringing up their children, they are so careful.
ఈనాటి చదువుల వల్ల, ఈనాటి విద్యా విధానముల వల్ల ఆ పిల్లల యొక్క పరిస్థితులు క్రమక్రమేణా మాలిన్యమైపోతున్నది.
Today, because of this modern education, the children are getting little degraded.
పూర్వమంతా పిల్లలకి ఏదైనా అక్షర స్వీకారం చేయాలనుకుంటుంటే
In the early days, when a child had to be
ఆ
initiated
స్త్రీల
in
యొక్క హృదయం
letters,
నుంచి ఓం నమ శివాయ, ఓం నమో నారాయణాయ అని చెప్పేటువంటి వారు.
and the women would teach the child, say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana.
ఆ యొక్క పేర్ల చేతనే ఆ పిల్లల యొక్క హృదయాలు క్రమక్రమేణా హృదయంలో చిత్రించుకొని పోతూ వచ్చాయి.
And with this type of training that the children's hearts would expand.
ఈనాటి ఆధునిక యుగం యొక్క చదువులు ఏ రీతిగా ఉన్నాయి?
What is the type of modern education?
వాళ్ళకి అక్షర స్వీకారం చేయాలనుకుంటే,
If they want to be
వాళ్ళకి చిన్న
initiated,
చిన్న బుక్కులు చదివించాలంటే
if they have to read small books,
తల్లిదండ్రులు కూడా ఎలాంటి పుస్తకాలు తెప్పిస్తున్నారు?
how do the parents, what type of books do they read?
బ్లాక్ షీప్ అంటారు. ఇవి వాళ్ళకు నేర్పించేటువంటిది.
So this is what they teach them. Baba, black sheep.
కనుకనే మనం చెడ్డ పదాలంతా కూడా ఈనాడు పిల్లలకంతా నేర్పిస్తున్నాము.
So we are teaching children all bad things.
ఎవరైనా ఇంటికి వచ్చేస్తే వారికి నమస్కారం చేసే పిల్లలను చాలా స్వాగతం చేసేటువంటి వారు.
Earlier, children, when any elders came to the house, they would do namaskar.
ఈనాడు అట్టి వినయ విధేయతలే పూర్తి కోల్పోయినారు.
There is no humility these days in children.
ప్రాచీన కాలంలో ఇలాంటి పవిత్రమైనటువంటి చదువులు పిల్లలకు చెప్పించేటువంటి వారు.
In the olden days, children were taught such type of education.
కనుక మొట్టమొదట గృహమే ప్రధానం, మొట్టమొదటి స్కూలు.
So the first thing is the home of the school.
ఇలాంటి ప్రబోధనలు చేసే నిమిత్తమైపోయి ఈ 19వ తేదీ, నవంబర్ 19వ తేదీ ఈ దినము పవిత్రమైన దినంగా రూపొందింపచేశాము.
So to give you this message, November 19th has become a very holy
నవంబర్
day.
19th అనేది ఏదో ఒక తమాష కోసం నిర్ణయించింది కాదు.
November 19 is not there for mere
తల్లుల యొక్క ప్రేమతత్వాన్ని జగత్తులకు చాటాలి.
to disseminate the mother's love to the whole world.
పిల్లలను పవిత్రవంతులుగా రూపొందింపచేయాలి.
And the children should become pure.
ఆదర్శవంతమైన పుత్రులుగా రూపొందించాలి.
They must become exemplary children.
सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं चित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि Sacred, holy and supreme is Baba's vibhuti, pouring forth in sacred stream this day of vibhuti. So spacious is its might, it grants revelation. Baba's vibhuti protects me. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim paramam vichitram.
विचित्रं
लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि.
Arms at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, Jai Sai Ram. And a very, very warm and happy Ladies' Day. Wishing you all a very warm welcome to the centre, to our active workers, brothers, sisters, and especially those who are joining us for the first time. Welcome. I'd like to invite Sister Aniksha for Thought of the Week.
I offer my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami,
Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Sai Ram. Quote for the week. This day is celebrated as Ladies' Day in order to delve into the sacred qualities of women and disseminate them. Women are the repositories of truth and culture. Though earth is one, the plants vary depending on the seeds sown. The womb of mother symbolizes Mother Earth. As is the seed of thought sown in it, so is the fruits it yields. You cannot expect mangoes by sowing a neem seed. So the mother should be filled with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Only then can her children be virtuous. Divine Discourse, November 19th, 2000.
Thank you, Sister Aniksha. We've had such a blessed morning to have heard our dearest sisters chanting, singing, and sharing their personal Sai journeys. Thank you, Swami, for allowing us this opportunity to offer this with love and devotion. We continue to be in awe of the strength, love, and resilience that Swami blesses all our dearest sisters, aunties, mothers with. We're so blessed at this center with so many strong and dedicated women who continue to serve Swami with unconditional love. And as we celebrate Ladies' Day today, we also show gratitude to the males, husbands, fathers, brothers, sons in each of our lives who support us and give us the space and opportunity to pursue our personal spiritual journey. So thank you all. Moving on to announcements, as we know, Swami's 100th birthday. Next Sunday, 23rd of November, we will be celebrating this on Swami's actual birthday from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. To commemorate this significant centenary of Sai, the day will be filled with a series of enriching spiritual and seva activities. The celebrations will begin with a reflective morning starting at 6 a.m. Please note it's 6 a.m. start, not 9 a.m. next week. And it will set a very serene tone for the day. This will be followed by a vibrant celebratory session, sure to be filled with joy and devotion. We're also very blessed to have Dr. Mahesh Narayan, ENT surgeon by profession, who is a long-standing devotee of Swami, to share his personal experiences. This special day will then conclude with a humbling seva activity in the evening, which will provide an opportunity for selfless service. We warmly invite you to share this celebration with your family and friends. Seva activities, there will be Strand Seva in London. As part of our Christmas offering, our centre will be hosting and leading the Homeless Seva activity at the Strand on Sunday, 7th of December. This month, we will be distributing food and warm clothing. If you would like to volunteer, please contact Sister Aniksha, Sister Pari, or Divij Bey. We will need volunteers for providing and distributing food items, distributing warm clothing, and setting up and clearing the Seva area. The meeting time will be 7 a.m. on the 7th of December and in the Strand. This brings us to the end of today's program. Please, can we remain silent whilst the Bal Vikas children and teachers leave the hall? There will be rehearsals taking place in this main hall, so please can all the mics, projector screen, etc. remain. Jai Sai Ram, and once again, Happy Ladies' Day. Sai Ram.